Good morning, everyone. It's Valerie, otherwise known as Chick Picker. Good morning, good morning. Yes, I am here. Let's see. Let's get the chat up. And we don't need to do that yet. I'm here, ready to go. Got my computer fixed. Thank goodness. Sorry about yesterday. Just one of those little snafus. One of those issues. Oh, let's see. Facebook. Let's see. Make sure I put the link in there. Hope everybody's having a good morning. It's been a pretty good morning, actually. I got up at 6, went to bed at midnight. Well, it was probably closer to 1. Got up at 6, and here we are. Not a bad, not too bad of a morning. Got my shipping done, so I can have the mailman come pick them up, which is good. I got to get back hot and heavy into that. And last night I worked on more inventory and getting that situated. I got all of my, well, not all of my inventory, but the majority of it up on the shelves. I still need to do a little bit of tweaking with that and get some dividers up and stuff, but it's coming along. Coming along. Today I'm going to start cross-listing over to Mercari. Actually, I already started. I think I got 3 or 4 over there. But actually, Mercari and Etsy, I'm going to start cross-posting everything that's on eBay. Get that cross-posted over there. So, yeah. There's Maggie. So yeah, it's been a busy morning, but that's good. I like it to be busy.
Morning.
Morning, Maggie.
Still have no video. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
I have to call Apple.
It's okay. No worries.
Didn't have a chance yesterday.
Glad you were able to come on today.
Yeah.
Glad I was able to come on today.
Yeah, what happened yesterday?
I don't know, but I did a restore on it and it came out okay. Everything. Yeah, I restored it to the only thing I can figure out is if it probably did an update and it just deleted all of my audio basically. So, which I don't know why that's doing that, but
Morning, Carol.
I don't know.
I think that this video problem is due that the morning it started having problems was when my computer automatically downloaded an update to the operating system. I don't think on the Mac there's such a thing as a system restore though. But I do regular backups onto a external drive. So, but I'm just going to call Apple. I just didn't have a chance. I just didn't have a chance yesterday. I was too busy.
Yeah. Morning, Carol. You want a link this morning?
Come on in and chat, Carol.
I'm gonna send you a link, and then you can decide if you want to come in.
No Todd this morning?
Not yet.
Hmm.
Not yet. Yeah, so it's been not really, I wouldn't consider it eventful, but it's been a busy morning.
Yeah.
Just trying to get shipping done, and I'm gonna send you one anyway. Just because I can.
She says no. Yeah, I did most of my packaging last night. I have one thing this morning. I sold a dress overnight, and I have a return coming in. Ugh. I had a return a few weeks ago. Gal wanted a pair of, they were Spanx leggings, and she got them and wanted to return them, said they didn't fit. She said right in the thing, didn't fit. And I automatically accept the returns. It automatically accepts them for me. Good morning, Julie and Tessa. But so it automatically issued her the label, I guess, but she never shipped them back. And the time passed, but they don't you can't, like with an unpaying bidder, you could go in after the time has passed and say the buyer hasn't paid and close the case, but you can't do that with a return, apparently. There's nowhere to go on and say the buyer hasn't returned this item, the deadline has passed.
No, you have to call.
Right. So I didn't call, I just left a call, and then all of a sudden it popped up again. Good morning, Frankie. It popped up again on my dashboard as being an open return, only now it said return completed, well, I hadn't gotten it. And when I looked into the official record, so apparently the gal went on and updated the case to say the return was received, as if she had shipped it out some other way.
Wow.
But I hadn't gotten it. And then I noticed that the reason now, instead of saying doesn't fit, said item not as described. So why she was allowed to go in there and change that, I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't know that you could go in and update it. But
I didn't know either. So I called eBay then, and they said no. They agreed that it showed that. Morning, Todd, and morning, Shirley. It showed that she hadn't returned it via the label they sent her. So they closed the case in my favor, but
good.
Yeah, it was a little weird.
Chick picker.
Morning, Todd. Morning, Shirley. Morning, Frankie, Julie, Teresa.
Everybody's waking up now.
Yeah, wake up. Time to wake up. Chop, chop. Let's get this day going. I'm excited. I don't know why, but I'm excited.
Hey, I have a library book sale to go to later. I'm excited about that.
Ooh.
I'm hoping because it's on a weekday, there won't be a lot of other sellers there.
I need to go to some library sales, or I need to go. Actually, what I need to do is because there is a library in the small town of Everest, and it's a working library. So I need to go in there and see if they have any sales that they offer, throughout the year. And then I know there's a library up the road in the next town. I need to do that. But
I go onto their Facebook pages. Lots of libraries have Facebook pages. So I go into their Facebook pages and like them, so I get notifications. And then I have in my bookmarks, I just go on to all the web pages of all the local libraries, and I save their bookmarks. So in the beginning of the month, I just go on and look at each calendar to see if they've got anything.
Yeah.
Going on in case I don't get the notice.
Good idea. Let's see. Huh.
I think I would rather be going to them and going inside and creeping around like, ooh, I could make a bunch of money on that. And say, when are y'all gonna have sales on these books?
Yeah.
This one here, I can make $150 on. I'll give you $5 right now.
Yeah, Tranky says our libraries offer books for sale year round. Some libraries just have a case or, a bookcase of books for sale.
Uh-huh. Yeah. I've never, as long as I've been here, I've never been to that library. I've never been to any library, I don't think, in Kansas, actually.
Libraries are busy places. I'm always happy to see it. Lots of them offer different programs now. It's not just going in for to take books out, but I love seeing the libraries busy and kids reading and people reading.
Yeah, the ones that, even the one here is fairly, you wouldn't think that a small library like that would be busy, but I know my mother-in-law, she goes to the library like weekly, looking for books and stuff. So I think it's good. I'm not much of a book reader. I don't know if I just have that kind of personality where I gotta, my hands gotta stay busy, and I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know the rhyme or reason for it, but I've never been much of a good reader.
Back in the day, before everybody had personal computers, y'all probably don't remember that.
Yeah, I do.
You could go to your library and they could run a computer search for you. I mean, Google is and Alexa and everybody else is. All that's changed, but that made libraries very busy for a while because they could run a computer search for you if you need to do research on something.
Well, I remember, going when I was in college and going to the library and, using, if I didn't have a computer at home, going and using their computer and stuff. So
I remember going in and using their encyclopedias to do a report.
Yep.
Yeah, because I'm a dinosaur.
Yeah, I was writing a college paper and I remember paying the library like $40 and I got like a half a ream of paper, the kind with the little slots on the edges that came out the printer, and those were just fold, and it was stacked about 2 inches high to do research for my college paper. So then you had to sift through all that to find what you wanted to write on your paper.
Yeah. Yep.
Times are different.
Times have changed.
And now you can get a program that it's just going to correct your grammar. What is it, Grammarly? It's just going to correct your grammar as you type. And you're like, dang. I would have paid for that service when I was writing papers in college.
Yeah, I would definitely would have been worth it.
Yeah, because from your high school and college teachers, you were getting your papers back with red marks all over them. You misspelled this. You didn't put a comma here. You put parentheses when you should have put exclamation. You're like, shut up. And now if you got Grammarly, it just fixes it.
Yeah.
When my kids were little, I used to do, for extra money, I used to type papers for college students. And I did typed up several doctoral dissertations.
Wow.
That the grammar and the spelling were just absolutely awful. Like, these were getting their doctorate degrees and they couldn't even spell. crazy.
So did you correct their grammar for them and their
Oh,
spelling?
yeah.
Did you charge extra for that?
I didn't, and I probably could have, but people recommend, people recommend other people to me
Right.
for that very reason.
Yeah.
Because I never went to college, but I could spell and had good grammar.
Yeah.
And nowadays, oh my Lord, they don't even teach kids handwriting, for God's sake.
Nope. And my wife, the English teacher, gets so frustrated.
Oh, I'm
These
sure.
these kids coming up, she teaches 11th grade English, and she's like, you should see. I said, I know. I taught some school. And she said, but no, you retired 12 years ago. You can't believe now. It's worse than when you taught. Oh, that would be bad.
It just gets worse and worse. Morning, Jennifer. Yeah. Carol says, go to Maggie. She'll rewrite your paper. Oh my gosh. Well, I'm glad I could get on here today.
Yeah.
Got everything restarted and restored, and I am so nervous. I'm so weird about computers anyway, and then something like that, and you think, oh my God, is it going to delete everything? Is it going to
that's what
delete all my passwords? And, am I going to remember all my passwords? And, ugh.
Mm-hmm.
So I was a little frantic about it, but, and Sally's like, no, it's just going to restore it to up to the, whatever date you want to put in there.
Right.
Restore it to that update. So I figured it had to have been, an update from, I think it was February 2nd to February 3rd. So that I put that date in, and voila. So
Mm-hmm.
hopefully that'll do the trick. And I noticed that my computer is running better. I mean, like the whole system seems to be doing better. Good morning, Beth. Good show last night.
Yeah, good morning, Beth. Jennifer.
Yeah.
It was a good show last night. She got some great stuff. I have to go back and watch the beginning now. I didn't get notice of the beginning.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with.
Yeah, Carol
YouTube.
keeps a book with her passwords. I usually have I have a combination of like 3 passwords that I use, and so I kind of just keep that in my
There are
back
some
pocket.
websites where you have to change your password every
Yeah.
3 months, and then you can't use any one of the last 5 passwords you've used. So
Yep.
you have to keep coming up with different passwords with different numbers and letters and little special characters, and it's crazy.
And I depend on my computer to save those passwords.
Right.
I would probably be screwed if I didn't.
I'll go back and watch again, Beth.
Yeah, she found some really good stuff. Really good clothes.
And she's been doing these little, have you watched her little videos on, she did one on courage and having more courage.
Mm-hmm.
Just little videos that are really cool.
Yeah,
Maybe
I think those are great.
Check out Reseller Rowboat.
It's hard for me to watch Beth because she's just so dang organized, and I'm not.
I know, it kind of makes you feel.
I just sit there and go, I should do that. I should do that. I should do that. I should also do that. I should yeah. Why don't I do that? And I'm like, all I do is get mad at myself when I'm watching Beth. She's awesome.
Frankie says I'm not tech savvy either. Trying to learn how to edit videos is going over my head. It totally went over my head, and I was like, screw it. I'll just, you know, do the best that I can, and it is what it is. I mean, I finally learned how I can put something, you know, do a video, and then I can piece them together and make a full video. I finally figured that one out. And I didn't even figure that out. Julie is the one that showed me how to do that. Yeah, just watch, just, you know, watch some YouTube videos. Because I'm sure there's stuff on there about how to edit. I was just having trouble finding an edit program. But I found one, and so that was half the battle. Excuse me.
Bless you.
Oh, I got that one. Oh, where's Sally?
I don't know. She didn't work yesterday, did she? She should be up and.
She's still off. I think today is her last day off.
Motoring around like a.
I think she's got to go.
Energizer bunny or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do the same thing, Carol. I just film, and if I make a mistake, I just continue on. Or a lot of times I'll get through it and I'll mess up, and it'll take me, you know, 3 or 4 times to get through it, and I'll just keep deleting them until I get it right. I don't do editing well. It is what it is. If you like it, fine. If you don't, that's okay too.
Probably easier that way.
I sold one of those Yadro. I like saying that. Yadro. Statuettes, figurines that I got at the auction Saturday. I sold it yesterday for $135.
Wow.
Ooh, awesome.
Of course,
that's amazing.
I paid $55 for it, so, but that's still good money. Yeah, I know.
Yikes.
But you know, you look them up and on the internet, and that's what they go for. So I was like, okay, yeah, I'll pay up for those. I bought 2 of them.
Nice.
So first one pays for both of them, and the second one will be the profit.
Yeah. Oh, she had the mammogram, I guess.
I love auctions.
Yep.
I've gotten so much good stuff lately.
Yeah, well, I mean, you had to kind of your places that you go have kind of, you know, what do you call it? How do you say it? Like, dwindled down, you know, over the past year or so.
Yeah, I mean,
so you had to figure out another way to get merchandise.
Yard sales are always real good, but there aren't any this time of year, so
yeah,
these auctions have saved my bacon. In fact, I sold a bunch more in January than I did in December.
I've heard that from quite a few people, that January was a really good month.
I don't think it's because of the month. I think it's because I've gotten better stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that probably helps. I would say.
I sold a gaming computer yesterday also. I
You did?
had a $300 day yesterday.
Very
That's
good.
awesome.
That's awesome. Very good.
Wish I'd have a $300 day every day, man.
Don't we all?
Me too.
I'd be like, I'm going to retire again soon.
I did sell a set of books for $70, but
That's awesome.
Amazon FBA, yeah. So the fees will be high.
Well, that's awesome too.
Yeah, it was a set of kid. No, was it? No, it wasn't. Oh, it was a set of the Chronicles of Narnia
Oh,
hardcovers. Yeah, box set.
Wow.
Another one of those that you could sell the merchant fulfilled for 35, but I sent them in to FBA and sold them for 70.
yeah. Good.
How many books are in that series?
7?
Really?
7?
Because all I know is the movies. There was like a Prince Caspian or something like that, and then there was The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe or something like that. And
Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe was the first book, but not there's 7 books. But they're not, like, some people recommend reading them in the order in which they were written.
Yeah.
And then other people recommend reading them in the order because later books jump back in time before The Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe. So some people recommend them reading them in chronological order.
Yeah.
But, yeah. I haven't read them in a long time.
Oh, Carol says she got one of those at the bin one time. One of those things that Todd got. Whatever you were talking about.
Yadro.
Yadro.
Roll that R.
Yadro.
Oh, I am getting a box ready for FBA right now.
That's what I need to do. LLADRO.
Yeah. If you go to a garage sale or estate sale or auction and you see this kind of box.
I can't see anything.
Can't see. Let me fix my camera.
There it is.
Is the if you find it not in a box, is it marked?
It's still valuable outside the box, but like anything else, it's more valuable inside. I mean, with the box.
Like a marking actually on the thing, whatever. Oh.
Yeah, so you get your barcode.
Yeah.
So when you're in the auction, you just pull out your eBay app and scan it.
Yeah.
It's like I scanned these, went, oh my gosh, those are worth money. So I've got this one listed for like 165 or something.
Nice. Shirley says it's so interesting to me to watch you all evolve and learn new ways and research new and better items. I think that's one thing that I really love about this career is that you're always learning, you're always looking for the best of the best, and you're just learning about different things, whether it be clothes or hard goods or collectibles, or I think that that's one thing that I love about this is doing this. Notice I didn't call it a job.
Yeah, I don't work any harder than I did 3 years ago, but yet I've got way better stuff I'm selling now. I agree with Shirley.
Yeah, I think I think evolve is a perfect analogy for that, because you're getting better, you're learning, and you're taking a little more risk. And I think as you progress through this, I think you learn a lot more, from doll socks to fancy watches.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, I don't, when I'm at estate sales now, I don't skip over the books like I used to, just because of Maggie.
Yeah.
You got me hooked, Maggie.
See? Oh yeah, there's lots of things I pick up. I mean, yesterday I had an appointment to get my taxes done. So in the past few days, just getting all my paperwork together and looking at my numbers. And I was thinking, my God, if it wasn't for Valerie, I wouldn't have half my profits, because my clothing profits are so much higher, and I'm so much better at picking stuff that sells more quickly. And I never even would have thought of doing that if it wasn't for you. So yeah, it's amazing how you change, and stuff that I look at that, Todd has picked up that I never would have looked at before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's all pat each other on the back and tell each other how wonderful we all are.
You're
Mutual
wonderful.
Admiration Society. You're wonderful. And you're wonderful. And you're wonderful.
No, you're more wonderful. Yes, you
No.
are.
Wonderful. Just saying.
Yeah, I've always sold stuff. I've always been, I guess you could say, an entrepreneur. But it's always been about selling stuff, and I've been in all kinds of different, what are those things called, like Tupperware and Mary Kay, and all those things. And there's nothing wrong with them, but nothing really stuck. Nothing really. I don't know if I just didn't have the gusto to get it done, but this has really this has cured that feeling of, I know what I need to do to, yeah, exactly, Eric. I know what I need to do to sell stuff, and I think that's one thing about it that I like the most, is I don't have to, go to my friends and my family and say, look what I'm selling now, and they're like, oh my God, here we go again, I have a worldwide, audience that I can sell to, and that has definitely cured that feeling for me.
Good morning, Mike.
Morning, Mike.
We all like you too, Mike. I love Mike's Instagram.
Oh, I know.
I just love going on and seeing all the stuff he finds.
Is he referring to that, when Sally Field won her Oscar, she stood up there and, you really like me. Yeah. Remember that? And then,
you like me, you really like me.
And then, what's his name? Carrie, Pet Detective. Somebody gave him something, and he stood up there. You really. He was making fun of that in that movie on Pet Detective. That was. There's been a lot of mileage go out about her accepting her award.
Oh, that's nice. Frankie says, my mornings are better when I start them here.
Mine are too.
Sweet.
Without a doubt. Morning, Mr. Sadie. How far?
Mr. Sadie. Everybody's coming in today.
Sadie. Hey, Sadie, you were almost the big loser in the football score pick.
Oh gosh, here we go.
Just, I don't know if he was on yesterday when we were talking about it, but yeah, your score went way over.
Dwayne was the closest, right? Dwayne.
But that's all right. At least you picked the right team, unlike Sally.
Well, for a minute there, I was, because I wasn't able to watch the game, but I had it on my phone and basically just the score and the stats and stuff, and it would say when whoever scored, and so I was keeping an eye on it. It was like 49ers were doing pretty good, and I thought, oh, I don't know, Sally might win.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, didn't Kansas City come back in the fourth quarter or something?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't watch the game.
Yeah.
But Sally was right. The best thing that came out of that Super Bowl was Bill Murray's Groundhog Day commercial.
I still haven't watched that. I need to watch that.
It's coming up on YouTube videos now.
I'll have to go in there and watch that.
It's so Bill Murray, and so it's really well done. It really is.
People were talking about the Google commercial, the man trying to remember his wife.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Here we go, patting each other on the back again, Sadie. Thanks.
Aww.
Somebody's got to do it.
There's a large group of people that don't like when all they see in videos is the chat members doing that, patting each other on the back, telling each other how wonderful they are. But we can get away with it because we're so sarcastic when we say it.
There you go.
I mean, we actually are wonderful. It's the ones that aren't wonderful that are patting themselves on the back.
Oh, well, yeah, that too.
All righty.
Yeah, well, it sure is easier to like somebody else when they like you, so there you go.
Yeah, that's true.
It's hard for me to like people that don't like me.
Mr. Stady said that was good, and so was the kids running into the stadium. I didn't even hear about that one.
I don't know anything about that one.
Did you all talk about the halftime show yesterday?
Well, yeah, a little bit.
They were talking about that. I seen a picture of her, and I was pretty impressed. She always has the coolest outfits,
To J-Lo?
Yeah.
Thanks, Sadie.
It was just she came out in this black outfit that had all the cutouts around the upper thigh area. And then at one point she turned and she stuck her butt out into the camera, which, she has an amazing butt, but the way, I don't know if she had on white, it looked to me like she had on a sanitary pad that was too big for the thong.
Right.
It was like you could see the black thong and then this white, and I didn't know if it was like lacy something or it just looked like, But other than that, she looked, and the costume changes in that short amount of time were amazing, that they could get into one skin tight slinky thing after another. Oh my God, it's like, when
she
I
must
go
have had 10 people pulling and yanking and
yeah. And when I go to the gym, it takes me an hour just to jump up and down and get into my tights.
Yeah, I get more exercise putting on my exercise suit than I do exercise.
Here. I mean,
I've always liked J-Lo.
Me too. I like Shakira too.
Yeah, I like Shakira too.
Oh, they're all right.
They're entertainers, and I mean, for her being 50 years old, that's saying something.
Yeah.
I'm sure she's got all the plastic surgery. She's got the best, best trainers and the best, the best of the best, and everything. But I don't know. I've always liked her as an actress. I think she's a really good actress. Just to me, she's just, kind of every woman, she stands for every woman, and for being Latino also. I mean, that, I'm sure there was definitely some hurdles there. But, she pressed on, and I give her credit for that. A lot of people don't like her, but
I've always liked her. Oh, Carol says it was the next costume show, and you're probably right. That's probably what it was.
I'll have to see if I can find because I haven't even seen the halftime show, so I'll have to
Yeah,
go
you should. It was very, very high energy. The only weird thing was the guy who came out in the big silver coat and
Yeah, the rapper. They had to throw in a rapper in every halftime show. I think.
Wow, yeah.
Here's your 30 seconds. Go ahead, do your thing.
crazy.
Morning, Liz. And Mr. Sadie says Shakira was smoking hot. O to the M to the G. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that was kind of a sexy halftime show. It didn't go over the line, but it was pretty
close.
There was some pretty good shaking going on right up in there.
I mean, the halftime show has definitely evolved from, being pretty low key, not a lot of skin showing and a lot of, it used to be pretty reined in, and these days, I mean, there's nothing like a good old twerk to get your blood moving.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I think it's just the way it is. Mr. Sadie, I had to take an extra blood pressure pill when I seen Shakira.
He's got the halftime show time marked.
I'll have to go and watch that. See if it's on. I'm sure it's on YouTube. It's probably.
What do you call the time mark, time code? So you can fast forward to the spot. Funny.
Yeah, I miss watching football. I should have went to a bar or something and watched it, but that's okay. Oh, Liz, how you doing, Liz? Everything going okay with you? I got my inventory up. Yeah, timestamp. There you go.
Thanks, Hank.
Yeah, I got all of my inventory up. I still need to tweak it a little bit, put some dividers in, but it looks really good. I'm really happy that I did it. I still have a closet to do. Finished all my totes. Still have 2 closets to do, and I got to get my hats up. And I'm trying to think of what else I've got to do, but I'm so happy with it. Really, really excited about it. I mean, it literally took me maybe 15 minutes to go find everything that I had to pack up today, so big difference. Fishing and Pickett said the best was right before the game, the old Ragged Flag commercial. It united all races in America. Now some Dems and Kaepernick followers are calling it racist. Yeah.
I didn't see that commercial. Good grief.
Liz is going through her inventory. Not my favorite thing.
No.
Good morning, Karen. That is one thing that I plan on doing is So all the stuff that was not listed, which is a lot, it's quite a bit of stuff. So I'm going to start going through that a little bit at a time and figure out what I'm keeping and what I'm getting rid of, because I'm going to be doing a big purge here and just redonating it, because there's, you know, if there's something that I don't think I can get $10 out of, then I'm not going to keep it. It's not worth it to me. Morning, Tom.
Good morning. Hey, Maggie. Still haven't got the camera fixed?
No, I have to call Apple.
You just need to go down, run down to the Genius Bar and get you a new one.
I don't think.
Fishing and Picking says you could have watched the game at home with an antenna. I don't have an antenna though. And I have a smart TV, so I don't know if that works or not.
Yeah. Antenna just placed into a USB port.
Oh, okay.
It's a digital antenna.
Okay, well, I need to put that on my list. I mean, it's too late now, but digital.
You have to listen. You have to take what Fishing and Picking says with a grain of salt sometimes, though, because you never know when he just came off the boat after, you know, drinking a 12-pack and never taking his fishing pole out of its case.
Well, I mean, that's why he goes. He goes to drink, not to fish. Liz says the 100-year-old veterans of World War II was pretty neat. I hope they were able to enjoy the halftime. I bet they probably had to take a whole bottle of blood pressure medication. Oh my gosh. Morning, them flipping crooters.
Morning, Rebecca.
I'll have to look that up and
Yeah,
see if I can get one of those.
worth a watch for sure.
I didn't know if that would work with the smart TV. So I'll have to see if I can order one of those.
Smart TVs nowadays, you can just plug a regular antenna into them.
You
don't
can?
have to have the converter box. Mm-hmm.
Because it would be nice to have something like that. You know, to be able to watch the news or something, you know. Okay.
Yeah, we get free local channels with my TV service, but they're not local. They're Dallas Fort Worth stations. So okay. I don't even get the Waco.
That's weird.
Local.
You say you don't get the Waco.
Waco. Yeah, I don't get the Waco signals at all. So I'd kind of like to have an antenna TV just so I could watch some of their stuff.
Okay.
Where am I?
All right, put that on my wish list.
Sadie, is your wife on a trip or what?
Oh my gosh. Let's see. Them flipping critters. What is the world gonna do when everything decides to stop being smart and they're gonna remember the old ways? I don't know. I suppose if we'd all figure it out. one way or the other.
Yeah,
Morning, Anamora.
we're gonna be too busy fighting zombies at that point to worry
No
about
doubt.
what TV we get.
No doubt about it.
We're talking on the shortwave radio to a new girlfriend, like, what's his name in Walking Dead?
Walkie-talkies.
Yeah,
Over.
over.
Anamora.
Ah. There you go, Mr. Sadie. He says, boss free until he gets home. You had to fix that.
Tom, have you been given any more driving lessons?
What did she say?
Have you been giving any more driving lessons?
Oh, just don't even talk about that.
Alrighty then. Is your car still,
Oh, everything's lovely. We've not hit anything.
well,
My
that's
nerves just. I've got one that's going Thursday to take his driver's test, and he'll pass it.
Yeah.
good
And
Lord.
that's the one I'm really working on because he's the one that works from 3 in the afternoon to midnight.
Right.
And right now I'm picking him up at midnight, so it's about 12:45 in the morning before I even think about wanting to
Oh my
go
God.
to sleep. And I tried taking a nap in the early part of the evening, and I can't do that because then I don't go to sleep till about 3 o'clock in the morning. But it's coming along lovely.
Yeah. It was really it was a struggle for me to teach my daughters because they're both so headstrong, and they, all I heard was, I know, Mom, I know, Mom, I know,
And didn't
Mom.
that piss you off?
Oh my gosh.
Don't you want to just say pull his car over?
Yep.
And then just reach over there and slap him, because if you knew it, then I wouldn't have had to tell you that.
But I just, at that time, me and their dad were not together, and so I just had to kind of just say, okay, well, I hope you don't get into an accident. I hope that it's probably going to happen. I just hope it's not too bad. That's really the way that I had to look at it, because I needed them to drive, because I needed them to be independent, and that was going to, in the end, help me work my job and do what I needed to do to be able to pay the bills. So, and I wanted them to be independent and drive. But, man, yeah, it was rough. I think Julie ended up getting her aunt to teach her most of it, just because I just couldn't. She couldn't. She'd get mad at me, and I'd get mad at her, and so it just wouldn't,
Yeah. And then it doesn't matter how good I taught the boys; they still got into wrecks.
Sure. Yeah. I think you just have. I think you just have to send them out and let them figure it out.
Right.
But it was scary to think that, but that's the way you learn.
If we live someplace like Chester, South Carolina, or Old Fort, North Carolina, or Podunk, North Carolina, where there's there's traffic, but there's not a lot of traffic.
Right.
It wouldn't be so bad. But we've got so much damn traffic that, and half of these fools can't drive either. So, it's a case where you just wish for the best. And
yeah. And I am the worst. The best seat in the car for me is right behind the driver. Because I can't see. I usually can't see in front of me, and because I am like the worst backseat driver ever. A worst passenger ever. because I will scream, I will make noises, and yeah, I'll scare the driver. Now, Mike, his goal in life, or his goal for the day, if we were going somewhere, his goal was, let's see how many times I can make her scream.
Yeah,
he succeeded well in that.
it doesn't matter how many times I ride with my brother, he still drives stupid. We spent several days together at Mom's house in December, and I'll drive. You don't need to drive. I'll drive, because I just didn't like riding with him driving.
Mm-hmm.
And he drives all that. He puts thousands. He was a hospice chaplain,
Mm-hmm.
and so he worked in like 15 different towns, and he drove incredible amounts. And I'm like, I don't see how he got that much experience driving and still drives like a moron. He'll take a sip of his coffee and be way over on the shoulder, can't you stay in the lane? I didn't hit anything, did I? No.
Not
And you
yet.
never did. He never does hit anything, but God.
Yeah.
Roberta won't ride with any of them, so I have to do all the driving. I mean, I have to do all the riding with them.
Well, and maybe as time goes on and they get a little more experience, maybe she'll feel a little bit better about.
She's going to have to, because I'm going to tell Vanya on the days he's off, he can go pick her up from work.
Yeah, I mean, that would be great practice for him.
Mr. Sadie said, I bought both my boys $300 ex taxi cabs for first cars, and both had wrecks just like I figured.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish I could find a couple of, or 3, like 1974 Super Beetles.
Yeah.
For this crowd around here. Because those were real automobiles. That was real steel.
Morning, Lisa.
Is Sayosa Sales? Is that Lisa?
That's Lisa, yeah.
Yeah, my oldest boy, he got into a windshield marking fight with some of his friends in high school. And that was all great till he drove his car into a ditch because he couldn't see the ditch coming in front of him. They would take shaving cream and soap and mark each other's windows up. Mm-hmm.
Some spoiled rich kids do stuff like that. Us poor, or us poor country folk. If we got a car to drive to school, man, we took care of that thing.
Yeah, those were. That was an interesting time. I'm happy that they're great drivers now, and I'm getting better about riding with them. So.
Good morning, Lisa.
I had this friend, Joanne, and she has 3 boys, and she dated this one guy, John, for the longest time. I mean, probably 4 years. They never did get married. But John taught her boys how to drive. And when the oldest one got married, John was his best man. Not his father, not his stepfather, but his mother's ex-boyfriend. But Joanne said, these boys have got to start driving, and I just don't think I can do it. And he said, well, I'll take them out. And he did. He took them out, and they drove and got their license. And they broke up, and the boys still stayed in touch with him. Because he was a good guy.
Yeah.
But I'm going to tell you what.
I took both my guys out because Michael he didn't have the patience for it.
I can barely hear you, Maggie.
Oh, I'm sorry. I said I took both my guys out because Michael just didn't had the patience for it. He yelled too
Yeah.
much at them. So,
Yeah. It's
She'll teach. What's the grandkid's name going to be?
Benjamin.
Benjamin.
I love it.
She'll be
I-
taking Benji. She'll be taking Benji out for his driving lessons. Cause she's gonna be around a long time. She's finally getting her a grandkid.
I
Mm.
can't wait.
I remember getting my driver's lessons from my dad too, and man, he could get frustrated with me.
My mom taught us how to drive. My dad he'd fly off the handle too easy.
Dad would
Yeah.
deliberately take us to a steep hill, and we had to learn on stick shifts. And he said, "All right, I want you to hold that clutch and let yourself roll backwards, and then let off the clutch, and you'll go forward and let put on back and forth and back and forth." I was like, God, he could make me nervous.
I learned because my dad had his land surveying business, and we did so much work out in the country, especially where they were creating new subdivisions. They would say, "Tommy, go get the truck and bring it down here." So I learned how to drive on old gravel or dirt roads, and in company pickup trucks.
Shirley says, do you not have driver's ed programs?
We do.
Yeah. They cost an arm and a leg, though.
Yeah, and also they still have to have a lot of driving besides that.
Yeah, you have to have a certain amount of hours on your permit.
Yeah,
But
we had a semester-long course in it in our
Yeah.
high school.
My boys went to took a summer class at the high school,
Yeah.
but they never really were interested in getting their license. And now all of a sudden, life is catching up with. Well, no, what it is Vanya's about to get his. Now Sasha's his twin has got to have his.
Mm-hmm.
Sergey's going to get his because he's going to drive his ass back and forth to work. They really did. They use mass transit and stuff like that. They use the CAT system here in town for just about everything.
Yeah.
And so it's just time. I mean, we have a friend that her husband is from New York City, and he didn't get his driver's license till he was like 42.
Wow.
And that's because they moved they worked for the same company, and they got transferred to Nashville, and he had to learn how to drive because they were going to live out in the sticks and drive in.
Yeah, I've got a 50-year-old friend that lives in New York City, and he didn't know how to drive. He said, if I got a car, I'd have to pay for a parking.
Yep.
Well, that's just it. We have an acquaintance. Well, it's the brother of a friend of ours. He has a driver's license, but he doesn't have a car. When he wants to go someplace, he needs a car. He goes and rents one because he said it's like $500 a month, just for a parking space.
Right.
And then the insurance is real high, and of course the taxes is real high.
Yeah. Hank says learning to drive stick while smoking a cig at the same time, the ultimate in driving lessons with a focus on safety and multitasking. Don't get in a wreck, don't cause a wreck, and don't burn anything.
That sounds about right. Way to go, Joanna. She said she sold a tablet case.
Awesome. Yeah, Karen's at the beach says having a car in New York City is a liability. Yeah, it's probably worth more trouble than what it's worth. So I would agree.
Fish, my grandmother didn't. My mother's mother didn't have a driver's license. my dad's mother had a driver's license, but the way she talked, she never went anywhere. And my father, excuse me, my uncle used to run he had a gas station repair shop on 501 in Conway. I think there's like a welcome center there now, Myrtle Beach Welcome Center. But anyway, he said all day long he'd see my grandmother's car go by, back and forth, but she never went anywhere. And she just stopped by there. My uncle, he told my grandmother to just stop by there and get gas when she needs gas. So one of the attendants that worked for him, if my uncle wasn't there, he would, just write it down on a little pad. Mm-hmm. And my grandmother, we were at my grandmother's house one night, the whole family, and she's like, well, I never go anywhere, because they were talking about, my uncle was like, it's time for him to start looking for another car. Well, I never go anywhere. And he said, Mom, let's ride down to the store and let me get your gas ticket book out. He says, somebody's using a lot of gas for somebody that never goes anywhere. My dad had when I was in high school, my dad had he was a partner with 3 other guys with a Cessna 172, which is a 5-place airplane that's got the wings above the cabin. Anyway, we would fly down to Conway, and because it was about a 35-minute flight, otherwise it's like a 3-hour drive. And my grandmother came over and picked us up, and my uncle did too. And he and my dad and my youngest brother were going to go get some seed, because we were going to plant something the next day. And he said, now, Tommy, on the way to the house, how about see if you can blow the cobwebs out of it? So I got in the car and we headed to my grandmother's house, and, it's flat down there, and you can see the straight road. You can see 2 miles down the road. Anyway, I got out there and I ran her up to about 70 miles an hour, cruising along, and I pulled up to a stop sign and it cut off and it never cranked up again.
Oh, wow.
So I had to walk down the street to my grandmother's friend's house and call my uncle's shop, and they called them on the radio and said, Miss Hux's car's broke down. And my uncle gets there and he says, well, I was getting ready to get her another one anyway, because he would buy, people would bring cars, or he'd hear about people with cars, and he would do a bunch, do some work on them, and she'd have a nice car. Mm-hmm. Anyway, I don't know what it was, and he never really worried about it. He just started selling parts off of it. My aunt, my uncle's wife, she's like, well, I'm F.A., don't you ever, because his name was John Franklin Arthur Hux, and they sounds like a royal. Everybody called him F.A. Anyway, she said, F.A., don't you ever tell him to blow the cobwebs out of my car. But my aunt said that, her husband's one of the top mechanics in the Horry County, and her car runs the worst.
Sounds like a mechanic.
Yeah. My uncle was a good guy. He'd do anything for people, unless it was illegal. Because he had a wrecker service, and he would people would, Friday, Saturday night, boys would get out, and some girls would get out racing on the flat back roads, especially down near the PD River. Mm-hmm. And they'd end up in a ditch, and he'd go down there, and they'd say, come on, Mr. Hux, pull us out. He's like, man, I got to radio this into the police or the sheriff's department. And they said, come on, you don't have to do that. He says, listen, I'm not losing my license because you're out here playing around. Now, if you don't want me to pull it out, then I'll leave and you can get somebody else to.
Hmm.
But he would man, especially between Conway and the beach. If you ever been to Myrtle Beach from Conway, South Carolina to Myrtle Beach, which is just a straight shot. Now it's 3 lanes each way, and just there's a lot of people from my neck of the woods up here that's gotten speed tickets for doing 75 and a 45 because it's just so flat. You get faster and faster and faster.
Yeah. So it seems like. I think my grandma had her license early on, but I know that once they moved to, I don't ever remember seeing my grandma like driving in Arizona. So I'm thinking that she probably didn't renew it or get another license. There's always, by that time they were retired, so I think my grandpa just drove.
My dad's got my grandfather's driver's license, and it's a strip of metal about 1 inch by 3 inches, and his name and his driver's license number is stamped into it.
Huh.
And it's on a key ring. His key ring.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen a really old driver's license before. Now I know my dad's on my dad's side, my grandma, she never drove. I don't think she ever had a driver's license. She was like 80 something when she died, and she just never had one. Just wasn't her thing, I guess. Businesses were slow. He had us go up a mile up the road and drop a box of nails. Oh my gosh.
Fish,
that's crazy.
Was that that's 17 up in North Carolina? Or was that done around my neck of the woods, down on the beach? Myrtle Beach.
Oh my gosh. Well, that's one way to get business, I'll tell you that.
Ingenious.
Oh my gosh.
That's the reason, because they intentionally put boxes of nails out on the road. That's the reason we use a company, and this is not a sponsored video. Let me make that clear. It's called Discount Tire here in Charlotte, because I always get the insurance plan on them, which is like $15 a tire, and I probably have not paid for tires on Roberta's car since I bought the car. I took it down there and had new tires put all the way around it. And because if they can't fix it, they put a new one on it, and then all it costs me is $15. But there was so much construction going on around here that we were constantly having to have tires fixed because of nails and things like that.
What happened to Valerie?
Oh, Lord.
I thought she disappeared. So, what are you doing with yourself today, Tom?
I'm trying to get woke up. I'm not drinking a beer, by the way. I'm drinking a Monster.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to get woke up here, and then I got to get some stuff done today. I need to get some listing done.
Yeah, me too. I'm going to a library book sale at 1. Fish and Pickens says just north of Greenville, North Carolina.
Okay. I know where that's at. Now there's Greenville, North Carolina, and there's Greenville, South Carolina, just for you people because there's somebody that comes in the chat a lot that is from Greenville, South Carolina, and I can't remember who it is.
Just like there's a Kansas City, Kansas, and a Kansas City, Missouri.
Yeah. Only they're not sitting straddle of the line. Greenville, North Carolina is on the west side of the east side of North Carolina, and Greenville, South Carolina is on the west side. It's a far piece between the two. But we have Beaufort, South Carolina. I'm sure y'all have heard about that. That's where they filmed Steel Magnolias at.
Oh, yeah.
And a bunch of other kind of movies like that. They filmed a Barbara Streisand movie down there, something Lord of the Tides or something of that. And then we have a Beaufort, North Carolina, and it's spelled the same way, but it's pronounced different.
Beaufort.
Yeah. Hey, Craig. Yeah.
Morning, Craig.
Have you really ever spent any time in North Carolina or South Carolina?
And where's Charleston?
Charleston is in South Carolina.
In South Carolina, okay, yeah, because we went to Hilton Head, and then one day we drove up to Charleston from there. So yeah, and we've driven through, but on our way back and forth to Florida, but otherwise, no. And this year when we drive back, we're going to stop, we're going to thrift our way up the East Coast. So I got to find what good thrift stores are off of I-95 going through the Carolina.
There's a bunch. Because when we were going to Tampa, I was looking at MapQuest or whatever and all the different thrift stores down through there, and my boys were like, "We're not stopping at thrift stores." Except Sasha now, he's got into them because he likes band shirts or anything with unusual graphics on the front. So if I say, hey buddy, you want to stop at the thrift store? He's like, oh yeah. Because he'll sit over there and he'll just burn through those daggum t-shirts at Goodwill. Because Goodwill has all their t-shirts, grouped together by color.
Yeah. Does he find good ones?
Then he goes through there. And I said, if you find any good ones that you can't wear, but you think they would be worth some money, said you need to throw them out, keep them out, and we'll put them on eBay and see how they do. Because he told me one time before, he said, I'd like to have an eBay store that sold nothing but band shirts.
Yeah.
And I said, well, you need about 100 band shirts to sell first, just to have a good inventory.
Yeah, I mean, some people do really well with them.
Yeah, and some of them go for a lot of money.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, my God, you go to let's see, what is it? I've mentioned their name before. They're like a new age rock band type thing.
Bless you.
21 Pilots.
Yeah. Bless you again.
Their t-shirts were like $60.
Oh.
Yeah, they're outrageous.
No wonder some of these people will sell them and get like $35 for them.
Yep. Yeah, they are not cheap at all.
How much are y'all's shirts, Maggie?
Like at the Goodwills and stuff, you mean?
No, I'm talking about for your singing group. Don't you have a lady out there selling merch? The Sweet Adelaides or the Yankee Adelaides, whatever you call your group?
No.
Sweet
Yankee
Adelaide.
No.
You need to have make up some merch and have it out. Have somebody selling it.
Yep.
We buy actually, it used to be you could go to like a convention and buy stuff marked with the Sweet Adelines logo.
Uh-huh.
And Sweet Adelines, the organization, would allow different companies to create, would allow different companies to use the logo and create different things. So you could buy all kind of great stuff. And Sweet Adelines are all about bling, 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 sparkle, sequins, woohoo!
Right.
But a few years back, they pulled back all the rights for other companies to sell that stuff. But then they never themselves jumped on the bandwagon of creating clothing merchandise.
That's crazy.
So
Well, Maggie, you can wear this. I'll send it to you. It's got lots of bling on it.
Oh my
It
god.
does. That's very Sweet Adelines, kind of in a southwestern Aztec kind of way.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
My
So
goodness.
yeah, I think they're missing out on a big opportunity because companies used to make big money selling the Sweet Adelines branded stuff.
Huh.
But you can't use their logo anymore.
No,
Oh
all
my
the competitions you go to, are they all Sweet Adeline sponsored events, or?
Well, each region has its own regional competition. And then once a year, they have an international competition. So those are all, those are all sponsored.
Did you get a little dust in your nose or something?
Yeah.
I'm
You're
not sure what that is, but it's,
sneezing.
Sneezing up a storm.
Oh. Sorry, I had to leave. I had to run my packages outside.
It's okay.
Right.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Gotta stay in today. Staying in, working hard today.
we when I was in high school, I was in the band, and every year we played the other high school that was in for football. We played them, which is Rock Hill High, and I went to Northwestern High, which was the new high school. And we finally decided, we were talking about, the school district had everybody on limited funds, so we needed to make some money. And I just had a blue said, well, why don't we sell, make it like it's all about the bands and not the actual football team. And we had this t-shirt that was like Battle of the Bands 1974, and it had Rock Hill High versus Northwestern, and we sold the hell out of those damn things. And then we split the money between the two bands.
You see a lot of those kinds of t-shirts at the thrift shops, made for different events and things like that.
Well, it's relatively cheap to do it now.
Yeah.
And they did it for a long time, even after we graduated. And then I guess it got to be too much of an issue, too much work for people. Because we could spend that money and not have to worry about getting approval from the school board or any, that type of thing. That was all that was kept in a cash box in the in the band director's office. So if he went because Todd probably did the same thing. He would go to like conferences and stuff like that, and he would come back with like new symbols and things like, things of that sort that they were doing special deals on. And he'd go ahead and buy it. And then he'd come back, and in front of we'd start our class, and he would go get the cash box, and he had the president of the band, which was a student. He would he'd hand the receipt to the band student, and then band student would count out the money, to give him his cash back.
Right.
And he kept everything, wanted to keep everything really above board. But we had lots of stuff that the school budget would never allowed, just because of those damn t-shirts.
Oh.
Good times, good memories.
Yeah.
I would keep just a little bit of money in my office for little bitty things, but that the band needed. But no, I didn't do anything that was not run through the school office, because they didn't allow it, for one thing, and then I didn't like having a bunch of money in my office anyway. Somebody would steal it.
We had a vault in our band room. I mean, it was a double locked steel door that went into a room that was supposed to be in the music room. And our band director's like, if somebody breaks in here, they're not going to be going and grabbing up, sheet music.
Right.
So we had some really expensive instruments that he had acquired. They kept them in there, the cash box. But our school district was like, back when I was in school, it was like a communist country. If you had cash, then it went into a fund, and it might be used for stuff other than the what it was raised for.
Yeah, I was always allowed to have an activity account, but every chocolate bar or T-shirt or whatever fundraiser we were doing that year, all the money went into that, and then you had to fill out a form to spend it on something for the band.
Oh no.
Principal had to sign off on everything.
We would have revolted. Because they'd end up buying basketballs with that damn money. We were not allowed. We did the T-shirts, and when we had our spring concert, we sold tickets to the concert. That was our fundraiser. Now, because we were such a good high school orchestra, we would fill a damn gymnasium up.
Right.
So we made some pretty good coin off of that. But it's like I said, it was some good memories, good times. I hope kids nowadays that's in the band, they have days like that. But most of them have such big budgets now. And our school district would only let us take one trip every 3 years, and not like going to a football game or something like that. But if we were going to go like to a parade that was far off and had to stay overnight, we could do one every 3 years.
Wow.
And of course, I never got to take one because they enacted that rule. And my junior year and the year after I graduated from high school, they were invited to go to Disney World. Disney World.
Morning, Kevin, the Thrifting Lounge. Thanks for coming in. He's watching from work.
Morning, Kevin.
I'm watching from work too.
Me too.
We were just talking about you damn insurance people, car insurance people.
Oh, God. Yep.
I just got out of the shower just a few minutes ago, and that's probably the reason I took a hot shower, so it's probably the reason I'm sneezing.
Yeah, got your sinuses up in an uproar.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is so cold here. It is 27 degrees right now, and the high is only supposed to be 28.
Oh, Lord.
Well,
cold.
I don't want to be mean Mary, but it's supposed to be 69 today.
Oh, my God.
It was 75 yesterday.
Oh, perfect. Kevin just had someone hang up on him. Well, that sucks. I hate that when that happens. Yeah, I I'm telling you, I cannot wait to get to Texas. I mean, even if it's 50 degrees, I'd be happy with 50 degrees. I'd be happy with 40 degrees. But this, frigid weather it's cold and the wind's blowing and it just cuts right through you. I'm done.
We're supposed to freeze tomorrow night.
I'm over it.
Like really go down to freezing, Todd?
Yes. Well, we reached our high for today already.
Oh, wow.
It's already starting to dip. And by tomorrow night, it's supposed to be 28.
Lord have mercy.
I'm done.
Where's Sally Ann this morning?
I think she had to go get a mammogram.
Oh, that's right. She did.
I think that's what everybody was saying.
Yeah, that's what it was.
So.
What fun.
Or as she would say, her tata's squished.
Yeah.
Please.
But yeah, that's where she's at. This is her last day off. And she's got to go back to work tomorrow. That went quick.
Yeah.
You smell that sausage? Huh? You smell the sausage?
I don't smell it, but
I don't smell any sausage.
I can imagine it.
Are you making sausage biscuits this morning, Todrick?
Little sausage and egg. And so the dogs have to come in here and beg.
Morning, Rita.
On Fridays when Roberta works from home, I always make her a big breakfast. Biscuits and gravy, some bacon.
Nice.
Sounds delicious. I need to get Lance to make me some of that.
That's right.
Breakfast eater.
You put on your French scullery maid outfit, Tom, while you're cooking?
No, I don't. Usually I'm walking around in my boxer shorts and a long t-shirt.
There you go.
I can just see you in one of those frilly aprons with a
little duster.
With a little duster and a
Todd. Todd, I think we have a nice relationship, but let's don't take it to that level.
Oh man. What you got going on today, Tom? You got some listing to do?
Yeah, I got a box of listing to do over here. That's about it. I don't think I have to do anything. See, I have to take Vanya at 3, pick up Roberta at 3:50. Yep, I'm pretty clear. My schedule's pretty clear today.
That's good.
Ooh, Michael just took a box of out to UPS for FBA, so I gotta do some clothes today, I think. When I get into that FBA thing, I just tend to do nothing but that for 2 days,
Yeah.
These people up the street are moving, and they brought me 2 or 3 boxes of books I got to go through.
Cool. Yeah, I need to do that. I need to get a box sent over to Amazon because I haven't done that for a while, and my inventory's running low. So
I've got 3 IKEA bags full of military surplus uniforms I need to get listed.
Oh, that's cool.
I think for most of the day I'm going to be trying to do some cross listing over to Macari, trying to get that built back up. Macari and Etsy.
Good morning, Rita.
Cool. I love the sound of that in the morning. What is it?
Is anybody watching the elections yesterday, the caucuses?
No.
Is that the weirdest thing you've ever heard of? The way that works? I didn't realize the way it worked until they were saying they had trouble.
Get it?
They have trouble. Oh, good Lord. They don't have results of it yet. There's no results of the Iowa caucuses out yesterday because of problems with the voting. So I went to
There
the,
was.
well, what they do is they go into these rooms, right? So you go to I guess a polling place, but you don't actually cast a vote. You go to the corner of the room to be with the supporters of the people you're supporting. So like Bernie Sanders people will go into one corner, Biden's people will go into another corner, Warren's people will go into another corner, and then they count people as they walk in. So say they have 300 people in the room. A candidate must get at least 15% in their corner to consider themselves viable. So let's see, 15% of 300 will be, you have to have at least 45 people standing in your corner. And if you don't, you're done. You have no chance of getting any delegates from Iowa. And then if you're in a corner where you're a non-viable candidate, so if you're in a corner with say, what's that guy, Yang, and you don't have 45 people in your corner, you can then leave and go to the corner of somebody else who does have more than 45 people.
Wow.
It's the weirdest thing I've ever
What
heard.
would they do in a round room?
I don't know.
They just
What do they do?
wander around and bump into each other, and
Bunch of zombies in there.
This
I
is
know.
it's real. It's really the way it works. It's crazy.
be like that zombie pit, and then
Mm-hmm.
they would throw
Yeah.
a candidate in the middle of it, and they would get eaten.
I've never heard of that before.
Me either. I never really paid attention. And it was the craziest thing I ever heard of.
Huh.
So as of now, nobody has won because they don't know who won. They can't tell.
Well, it's all a mute. It's all a waste of time anyway.
Waste of time, waste of money.
That's right.
Yeah.
Just a joke.
Liz says a round room would be awesome.
Yeah, because some of these people are so stupid, they would be confused by having the round room. They'd be wandering around like, they were stoned, where do I go? Where's the corner at?
Maybe
Where's
they
the
do like a
corner?
line dance or something.
Where's
Do
the corner,
hokey-pokey.
man? I
It'd
can't
probably
find
be
it.
like that. What was it? One flew over the cuckoo's nest, where when they went out to the exercise yard, and everybody just walked in a counterclockwise motion, and the star of the show, I guess Jack Nicholson, he started
Jack
going
Nicholson.
the other way, and everybody started, getting all upset and throwing fits, and oh no, going the wrong way. Probably happened the same if they did NASCAR the other direction.
Rita says they should fight a
People do
zombie
right.
and whoever survives wins. Yeah.
That's right.
You know what? I'm to the point now that I think they need to put up a cage, and that the person that's representing each party has to get into that cage, and the last person that can walk out of that cage is President of the United States.
There you go.
Now I'm gonna say that with
Two men
this in
enter,
mind that
one man leaves. Two
yeah.
men enter, one man leaves.
That's right. When Hillary was running, though, I don't know whether Donald might have had a time with that hezzy on his hands. She's a lot more manner
Oh
than
my God.
she's more man than a lot of the men that's in the Democrat Party.
Yeah.
But
So I am completely out of the loop. Who is running? Who's in the running?
Who is not in the running on the Democratic side?
the Donald is running on the Republican. I don't know whether anybody's going up against him or not.
No.
On the Democrat side, there is Bloomberg.
Bloombutt.
He wasn't in the race last night, though. He wasn't on the ballot in
Well, maybe he's
Iowa.
running as an independent.
He's waiting till the later, he's waiting till the later
Primaries.
primary. So it was Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders, Joe Biden,
Get it?
the other guy, Buttigieg,
Yeah.
Amy Klobuchar, and Andrew Yang, and somebody else.
Now, is Amy the one that's trying to sue Hillary because Hillary said that she was a Russian plant?
No, that was Tulsi Gabbard.
Okay.
I think she was also in the running. But what I heard early on was that Biden was not even making, he didn't even have the amount of people in his corner. Like he wasn't considered viable in a bunch of the districts. But they don't really know because they're not releasing any numbers at all.
I mean, everybody should go vote in caucus because
I think that would be so much fun.
you lose your, we all gripe about who's in charge or anything, but it starts at that caucus level. If you're not participating, then you don't really
Can't say anything.
You can't grab a whole lot at the final vote,
No,
Right.
it's true.
I think we primary out here. We have like organized elections. We're not like these hillbillies that go stand in the corner of a room.
It almost makes you wonder if they're hiding the numbers because Biden didn't do well. I mean, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but basically the Democrats, right? They held the impeachment trial so that the big candidates, right? Sanders, Warren,
Right.
they couldn't be in Iowa because they had to be in Washington. So it left the field open for Biden. So
Right.
if he doesn't perform well, that's pretty much disastrous for him, I would think.
Yeah.
Poor Uncle
I
Joe.
I think Bernie needs to go ahead and declare his vice president because that's who's going to end up being president because Bernie's going to have a stroke.
I think it'll be Warren.
He's going to have a stroke because his face already gets blood red when he's in these debates as it is.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not,
I think Sanders is going to win as well. I think, yeah, you can't take it away from
That
him.
guy's pretty high strung.
yeah. I think he's going to win. I think he's going to win the Democrat candidate.
Now Bloomberg's done a lot of advertising, but
Yeah.
but God, the things he proposes, who's going to pay for that? God's going to come down from heaven and pay for everything that Bloomberg wants to. Free education, free meals, free
Yeah.
wine on Wednesdays at Taco Bell, free.
Oh,
I want to hear.
that.
I want
What
to
a
hear
moron.
somebody's plan, their actual plan. As far as we are
we're getting
in the
political
election
here.
process right now, Bernie's talking about free education. Okay, Bernie, what is the rules concerning this free education? Can people become professional students and stay in the university the rest of their life and we pay for it? Are we paying for room and board? Or are we just paying for books and classes? Get down to the brass tacks of it because I'd like to know what's going to be included. Do you have to make a C or better in these classes to continue on?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely got to be some stipulations to, otherwise you're exactly what you said. You're going to have professional students, that are just going to go to school forever because they can,
Yeah.
Well, North Carolina is halfway to a free education because if they would just implement their middle college program in every high school in North Carolina, then when every kid graduates from high school, they would have the equivalent of an associate's degree, but they should have all of their basic courses that they have to take.
Yeah,
Well,
I
the
agree.
histories and the maths and the sciences. That's what Viney did. And when he went to NC State, he went as he was considered a freshman because that was his first year there, but his credits had him at a junior.
Mm-hmm.
So
Wow.
he went 2 years and he was done.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So, these yahoos up there, if they would quit the the rich people are going to pay for everything stuff and come up with some plans about how this stuff is going to be done.
Yeah.
Because it might not be as bad. It might not, because of the way the middle college is funded is part of it comes from the school district, because, you know, these are school district high schoolers.
Mm-hmm.
And then they get so much money from this university program to make up the difference.
That's right, Mr. Sadie. Free perky Qs and or perky Cs. Is it
Percocets. Is
no,
that
I know it's Percocets, but there's a special name for it. Anyway, and martinis for everyone.
Yeah, sorry to get political. I didn't mean to.
No, I
We
started
don't
it.
do that
Sorry.
here.
It's all right. I mean, you know, it's like we're not picking sides. You know, we're not saying Democrats or Republicans. We're just saying that these bastards that get put up there, they make all this money. Well, you're a good guy, fish and picking. I don't care what Valerie says about you.
Wolf pack.
Oh my God.
You know, if they got up there and did their job, everybody would be a lot better off.
Yeah.
But they get up there and they do everything else and they pick on each other. And I'm a Trump supporter, but I will say that he is not perfect.
Mm-hmm.
But none of them are. And you know what's they'll say, when you point at somebody, you got three fingers pointing back at yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, have y'all heard that before? Is that a Carolina thing?
No, I've heard it.
He just needs to. I mean, they just need to. They just need to do their job.
Yeah. Well, you know, and that's the thing. You know, with political, I think probably 90% of people, you know, definitely agree that, you know, whoever you choose, you know, there's always going to be an issue with whoever you choose to vote for, because ultimately it's not their decision.
Right.
On any, I mean, you know, yeah, they might have a little bit of pull, but if you don't have the House and the reps and Congress on your side, you ain't gonna get anywhere. I mean, I think that's been totally with Trump. You know, he's wanted to make a lot of changes, but and that's with any, you know, president or even, you know, senator, governor. You know, if you don't have, you could make all the promises in the world, but if you don't have people on your side, you ain't going to get nowhere.
You know, one of the questions that I would like, if I was one of the moderators at a debate, I would ask these people, you're all senators.
Mm-hmm.
And then and there's congressmen in there too. Why haven't y'all got together and come up with a plan and for, you know, education reform, healthcare reform? Why haven't you put a plan together and send it to the president?
Mm-hmm.
You know, because that's where it's got to start at. Anything with money's got to start in the House.
Right.
So, you know.
Yeah, I do agree. Trump, I like Trump. I'm just going to put that out there. I think he's done a lot, and I think he has a lot to still do. But he probably would have been able to do a lot more if he had people, you know, certain people behind him. I don't know. You know, and the whole impeachment thing, that's a whole different story. But anyway,
You damn right, Hank.
Let's get off of that.
See, that's another thing.
Before we start.
What was it last time we had the posse of 16 Republicans that's running for the nomination? That's what you do. You just put them at one night. You put everybody in a cage, and the last man or woman in that cage that can walk out has the nomination.
Yeah.
Just imagine the money that we can could be made.
Yeah.
The T-shirts.
Yeah.
The broadcasting rights. The $500 tickets. Just think of all the money that we could make
That'd be
in
like
1
an
year.
eBay Open right there. Oh, oh, sorry, that's not happening now. Scratch that out.
You know, I actually talked to, I have some friends that are, Mary and John, they work with a company that they put on like 3 big science fiction conventions a year. And I sent her an email last night and I said, y'all want to think about trying to do like a big reseller type, like eBay Open. Because they've already got all the software for ticket sales, because they generate some nice tickets and stuff like that. They know how to get vendors, because they can make, I think they can make some fairly decent, money doing some things like this. But, it's not just eBay Live or eBay Open. It's reselling in general.
Yeah.
I do too, Jason.
But you know what? I will say that, it's been said several times, a lot of people don't want to go to, or didn't want to go to eBay Open because, if they didn't know it already, what was the point,
Right.
I mean, but I like it because of the networking, meeting people, and, being motivated, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to go, was just for that,
Right.
not so much to be taught how to do eBay. I mean, we
Right.
pretty much know that. And there's videos out there to teach you how to do that if you don't know that. But, just to mingle, to get to know people, to just to have fun.
Yeah.
Truthfully, I mean, somebody should have a party, like a weekend party where, every night it's a eBay mingle type of thing.
Yeah.
Not 3 hours, because there's not going to be much done in 3 hours.
Right.
People don't go to conventions, business related conventions, for the business.
No.
They go to network. They go because they get a free trip somewhere.
Yes.
They go for vendors, to see what vendors have out. They don't really care about going and listening to the. They don't go to hear somebody speak for an hour and a half about,
Right.
the new widget that's coming out, unless you're an Apple person.
Right. I agree.
They go for the social part of it.
Absolutely.
Or at least I did.
I mean, if you're looking at it as in an eBay reseller perspective, this is a very lonely career, lonely job. And, to be able to shut everything off and go meet people and hang out, and, I don't know. I think that sounds pretty cool.
Well, and maybe like eBay Live, or it used to be called eBay Live,
Mm-hmm.
and then it became eBay Open.
Right.
It was one convention in, like Vegas. A lot of people can't afford the damn airfare,
That's true. That is true.
So why not have small ones, like one on the East Coast and one on the West Coast? So at least, yeah. You're like 8 hours. You shouldn't be more than 8 or 9 hours away from. Let's say if Charlotte was one of the East Coast, it's 9 hours to Orlando. So if you live further down, it's gonna be 10 or 11 hours. But and I guess I don't know how long it takes to get to. Yeah, me too, Jason. I don't know how, like, if you're driving down from Upper New York or whatnot.
Yeah.
Bridget, if you're listening, how long did it take you to drive to South Carolina?
I think it really bursted a lot of people's bubbles when they canceled that. I just, I don't think that was the way to go. But then again, I'm not running the business either, so it's hard, it's easy for me to say that. But, it is what it is. Jason says I agree. They should have a smaller eBay opens for one day in every state or region. So
because you can make it into a week. The actual event could be one day.
Yeah, and I know that there's potential. Other resellers are actually considering doing because of the eBay Open cancellation. I think there's been word put out there that they're trying to organize something. I would love to do an eBay cruise, a reseller cruise. That would be awesome.
That would be so much fun.
Yep, that would be lots of fun.
Do like a 3 or 4 day cruise and yeah, that would be a blast.
Well, I mean, like the cruise that we went on out of Charleston. You left on Thursday night.
Mm-hmm.
You had Friday was all day at sea.
Mm-hmm.
Saturday was in Nassau. Sunday was all day at sea. Monday we got back to Charleston on Monday morning. That would give you 2 days and 4 nights of
that's perfect. That's plenty
of events.
That's
just
plenty.
to get together.
Yeah, and they could have events on the cruise ship. They could have, and I think that sounds like a great idea. Just need somebody to organize it, to take the reins and organize it and get it done. But Hank says y'all make sure you take some pictures because I ain't going.
Hey, quit being such a girl. You got to get your butt on the boat. Get off some of that damn money you got buried down there and let's go.
Mr. Sadie says we can take my boat for the cruise. There you go. It has a bar. Perfect.
We'd look like a bunch of people trying to leave Cuba and get to Miami on your boat.
Get us some life floats and we'll be fine.
Yeah.
Sadie's flotilla.
Or you could just go by and get you a bunch of old inner tubes and patch them and just tie them off to the back of the boat so everybody can float along behind you.
Yep. Well, look what the cat drew again.
Yeah.
Sally Ann.
Hey, Sally, how was your titty squish? Oh, she can't hear us.
Tatas.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
I was trying to think of what I called it the other day when somebody else had to go do one, and I forgot what I called it. I don't remember now.
Oh, Hank, on a cruise ship, there wouldn't be. It wouldn't even seem like there'd be that many people because they're so big.
Yeah.
You wouldn't even think.
Hey, Sally.
On a cruise ship, you wouldn't even think that there'd be 3,000 people on a cruise ship because there's so much room and so many decks and everything.
And depending on which cruise, where you see, that would be the first thing that would have to be done. Is like, with like there's like Baltimore, well, of course New York, but like Baltimore, Charleston, Jacksonville, Fort Lauderdale, Miami, Tampa, New Orleans, Houston, Galveston.
Yep.
That's pretty much the cruise ports on, So what would be the most convenient, 1, 2, and 3. Give me your most convenient, your next convenient, and your next convenient.
Yeah.
and then find out what's leaving out of there. Because you might not be on a 3,000 person ship.
Right.
The one that we went on was a nice size ship,
Mhm.
and it was a big ship,
Mhm.
but it wasn't one of the mega ones. Because I like cruising, and Roberta and I both decided we don't know whether we really want to be on a ship with 6,000 people.
Right.
Now, it might be so spread out that you never notice it, but like I said, I don't know whether we'd want to or not.
Jason says we just got back from our cruise last week, and it was middle-sized Royal Caribbean ship, and there were 4,200 passengers, and it didn't seem too crowded. That's the truth. I mean, they just don't.
Right.
There's enough room on them, so they, you can. I mean, everybody's kind of just everywhere on the boat, so it doesn't seem like it's.
And there are so many rooms that are not even used.
Oh yeah.
Like the one that we had, and we walked by the library several times, and there was never about anybody in there.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a lot of rooms like that. That, in our case, if people wanted to get together and chat, there's places that to go to. Huh?
They wanted to chat.
Chat, yeah. There's plenty of places for people to go and have conversations or meetings or whatever they wanted to talk about.
Whatever it is they want to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would be a blast. I wish I knew somebody that could put that together. I wish there was somebody that would be willing to take the reins on it and completely put it all together. I'm not that person. So
me being a Star Trek fan that I am, we've never been on one of the cruises, or Roberta has been on two, but every year they take like a Star Trek cruise. And let's see, they went to it started off just doing the Bahamas thing, like a weekend thing. And then it got to be like a 7 and 10 day Caribbean thing.
Uh-huh.
And then it got to be, okay, fish. And then see, last year they were in they went to Norway, St. Petersburg. And this is a bunch of Star Trek geeks, that's just going for the fun of it.
Yep. Yeah, it would be a blast.
I don't know. Mr. Sadie would want to stand up on the front of the ship and with Todd behind him going, Todd, I'm flying. I'm flying.
Oh my gosh. Oh.
Well, it's 11 o'clock. I got to get out here and get some work done.
Yep. Me too. Time to get some work done. Time to get the blood flowing and moving. So I hope everybody has a great day. Get some work done. Get some listing done. Make it happen.
Yep.
And we'll see you all later.
All
Bye,
right.
everybody.
Bye, Sally. Bye, Maggie.
Bye.
Love
Bye,
you guys.
Tondrick. Bye, gang.